All right, the Lutz Bryan reunion, which I was born just a few days after it had met. But this was probably 3 or 4 years later, held at it would be one of my dad's cousins who had a nice big front yard and a nice row of trees, probably soft maple. And I would guess that he had a flat rack and maybe borrowed the neighbors for the women to put their food on. Nice family gathering when it's been the second Sunday in August since the start. Well, Benny, a younger brother of this Dale that did the set up the shotgun machine, always carried a knife. He was about the same age as my brother. And where they went, I was allowed because they didn't ever keep me from it. Otherwise, they had been told by the mothers that I could go along when they went whatever. So they took off back of the barn, the cow path, down towards some timber pasture on a creek. They came to 2 names, Jack in the Pulpit or Indian Turnip. Well, Ben decided that they pulled one up, scraped the dirt off, got out his knife, cut off a slice, because he'd heard that it had quite a bite to it. So he took a little bite, nothing. He gave my brother a bite. He chewed on it, nothing. They ignored me, thank goodness. They just got it about ready to spit out, and Ben said, it kind of burns. About that time, Burdette began to spit too. Then it began to be on fire. And they spit and run their fingers in there and the tongue, and they scraped their tongue, and it still burnt, and then way to the house they went just as hard as they could run. And they're yelling and screaming, and they came to the fellow's cistern pump and started pumping, and the women, of course, had gathered around. The men is scratching their head and what's wrong. Well, they had chewed on some Indian turnip. The men, most all of them had fell for that same trick. It was terrible stuff. That finished all anything of tasting and trying out Indian turnip, because everybody else knew that it burnt something terrible. And I'll go on to this. Fahey, Irishman, could nearly always get a job working on the railroads, putting in rails. And this Irishman was a fairly good friend to a big young Swede. The Swede couldn't really talk English yet, but him and the Irishman got along just fine. And Irish Fahey is his last name, had to walk back down where the van track to the water barrel to get a drink. And on his way back, he seen a batch of those Indian turnip. So he pulls one up, cleans it off, comes to walking past this big young Swede. What you got? Turnip. It good? Oh yeah, and it's got quite a bit of fire, but it is good. May you get a bite? Why, yeah, here, you can have the whole thing. And when he left, the Swede was chewing on it, and he said, I knew. I think he was telling my grandpa, said, I knew when that Swede got mad there was going to be a lot of trouble, and I was going to aim to be at least a mile away. So, and that went on for about 2 or 3 days before he couldn't keep from meeting the Swede. So he got up his nerve and walked up to him and patted him on the back. He said, "You sure took that like a man I knew you were." And that put the Swede, he couldn't hardly dare do anything about it, because Fay had fell for the same thing from somebody else. And he ended up with telling the Swede, "Now you know how that feels. Now it's your turn to turn it over and turn this little trick on somebody else. It's not anything's going to hurt except while it's burning." And he said they turned out to be real good friends, but that, he told, I'm sure he was telling Grandpa. He said, "Boy, I knew the best thing for me to be not to meet that young man for at least a couple days or so, until it pretty well disappeared."